Welcome to Members Only, a show featuring CMAC members and the projects they produce. My name is Johnny Pacina, and I'll be your host today. In this edition of Members Only, we'll be talking to Nzong Xiong, the producer of Yes to College, and William Elliot, the producer of Blindside Fresno and Remember, Remember. First up is Nzong Xiong, the producer of Yes to College. Let's check out a clip.
Honestly, I would just be at home doing nothing, probably bored. That's what I'll probably be doing.
I wanted to go to college because I wanted a better life for me, and not just for me, but for my family. And I wanted to be that person who could change my brother's way of I'm gonna just graduate and then not go to college. I wanted them to see me go to college so that way they could get.
Welcome back. Well, Nzong, thank you for being here. Really appreciate the time you've taken to be on the show. Welcome.
Sure, my pleasure.
It's always great to see videos like that where not only do you see local success stories, I guess you could say, but also working at CMAC and seeing other sort of nonprofits getting involved and people coming here and using video, because it's a very powerful tool. And we'll get into a little bit of what exactly the process was for you and everything. But ultimately, though, I'd like to ask you, how did you get your start, or I guess the thought process in this particular video?
Well, what I wanted to do was highlight one of our programs that we have at Reading Beyond. We have multiple programs, and so I thought this would be an easy way to show some of the accomplishments that our students made. In this case, they graduated from high school, and but also highlight the program itself, what it has done for these students. So that's why I thought this might be a good way to also introduce myself to videography, as well as produce something that would highlight one of our good programs.
Definitely. I mean, what better way to use something, a visual medium? I think you feel like everything's visual today, and to have other people relate to that, you can watch it, you can see the story. You have the people actually talk, and the students talk about utilizing the program. So what made you come up, I guess, with the idea? I guess, how was the process of coming up with the idea? How did you start to construct the idea, okay, I want to interview these students? How did that all start?
Well, I sat down and thought about what I was going to do. I kind of mapped it out in my head, and I actually wrote it down too. And I knew that we had 4 to 5 students that I could highlight, that they were seniors and that were graduating. So I knew I had that start. I didn't know whether or not I wanted to shoot them all at one time or not, but that's where it was part of the process of kind of figuring out what the story would be. And but with 4 or 5 students, that was going to be too tough. So that's why I decided to just do individual one-on-one, and with the help of the family navigator doing the interviewing, then I could do the camera work behind the scenes, and so that helped me do that part.
Excellent. So it sounded like you had some assistance there, which is good. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that sounded like one part of the challenge, I guess, in the pre-production of the video. What other types of challenges did you start encountering as you went along with the actual production of it? Did you have any technical issues or anything?
Yes. Part of where we were shooting, part of the program is hosted at a local Boys and Girls Club at Zimmerman, which we are, it's a great partnership. But with kids at the site, then we were in a room, and so yes, I tried to minimize the noise from outside the room, because some of the kids were playing games and whatnot, so you could hear sometimes some of the noise, and it's great that they're there and utilizing the place, but for what I was doing, it made it tough in terms of the sound. So I couldn't really tell until I got back, and then you could really hear,
Listen,
the sound. And I didn't realize, I think, being in a room, how it kind of echoed in a way.
Definitely.
So it sounded like I was in almost like a little bit of a vacuum or studio, so to speak.
You get some of that reverb, right? Yeah.
And so I think I didn't realize that part either. And so until I came back and was in the post-production part of it.
Yeah. It's always, we always kind of joke. I joke with people I do productions with that, it never fails. You turn on the microphone, the camera's recording, and you get a really nice interview going. And of course, a bus outside drives by, or a plane flies over. It just kind of just takes out that nice voice clip, that sound bite from your guest. But okay, well, before we talk a little bit more about the technical stuff, I think we should also reverse a little bit here and go and talk about the actual program itself. What exactly does a program entail, and what does it do to help these high school students sort of, I guess, get encouraged to go to college? Right.
The program that particular program is part of our Family Success Zone, and part of that program helps not only the high school kids, but from elementary to middle school, and it helps them tutor them, gives them advice, helps the parents. So that program itself, they meet monthly, and for the high school program, they meet monthly, and then the Family Navigator helps them with, every month they have a topic. So I think last topic, one of the topics previously was on financial aid. And previous other topics, they would invite representatives from Fresno State or city to come out and talk to them. So that particular program helps, high school and some middle school students and the families, learn about, college, what do they need to do, what can they, how easy it is to, maybe go to college, because some of them don't realize that they can. Right. They think it's out of reach. As the video shows, some of the students didn't know. They thought, it's, that they were just going to have to go to work and not, not go to college. And so, and that's one of the things I was hoping to highlight with the video, is that, it became possible because,
fantastic, wow,
because of, their hard work.
Right. I feel like a lot of families too out there, even myself on my dad's side, I was first to go to college, and I think it's a lot of question marks for first generation people, that are going through high school, and like you said, it's out of reach and they can't do it, but no, it's actually very accessible and it can be possible, and then it also educates the parents. So that's a fantastic program in my opinion. I'm glad that we're able to highlight that on CMAC and show it on our networks, and it's been great to show that. So now let's jump back to a little bit the technical part of it. So what advice would you give others who may be thinking about highlighting perhaps a nonprofit or a program or something that basically the idea is there, but it's just, getting started with the actual video production of it? What advice would you give to others? I mean, definitely utilize CMAC.
You guys helped me tremendously, both from the classes to, helping me pick out the equipment, to kind of coaching me which equipment to use. So I think, utilize everything that you guys have here, as well as the software. I think that was part of a big learning curve for me, because I had never used videography.
Your first time, right?
Software of this magnitude for me. I mean, it's nothing at, just your basic at home, but this was totally different, where, you can adjust the volume and you can lower, the sound on certain, and that's where I was trying to, cushion the sound in that room. Definitely. So definitely, utilize what CMAC has here, and don't be afraid to, reach out. It would be great to have more than one person. For our organization, we were able to send myself here, and that was great. But for other organizations, if they can send more than one, then that's great, because then that way they can collaborate and help each other.
Definitely.
in my situation, maybe I could have been the person interviewing, and the other person could be the one behind the camera work, or we could have two cameras next time.
That's kind of how what we recommend for people to approach, whether you are coming from a nonprofit, with another team member, or you are just coming in as an independent producer. But we always say, grab a friend, get someone to come with you so they can do those types of things. But I will say you did a great job doing it all alone.
Thanks.
I want to recall a time where you needed some editing help, and we even we got the audio just right balanced for your music and your audio tracks, right? Your voice, your interviews. How was that something new for you too?
Yes.
Dealing with that?
Yeah. No. I mean, I honestly, I knew that was possible. I just didn't realize how to do it. And so that was really exciting for me, and to learn that, hey, it's not that hard. Yeah. It is kind of scary to see all these like windows and you're like, oh, what is this?
It's always intimidating the first time around.
It does look crazy, yeah. But it's not bad. I mean, once you kind of start the process, it gets really exciting. Yeah. And you're like, oh, well, I can do this now. Oh, I can do that. And so it comes to a point where you're like, okay, now I have to stop. Otherwise, you're going to keep on changing and adjusting and everything. So it was a lot of fun. And even for my project, I ended up actually shooting the awards ceremony or a little recognition ceremony for it, that I was thinking, oh, maybe I can add that into the video as well. But I had to also cut myself because I was like, okay, this is all I can do for this first try.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like a situation I've fallen into many times, and I've heard from other members too. You go out and film something, you get this great B-roll, you capture an event, you have these great shots, but then you think about the overall meaning and message of what you want to try to emphasize in your project and your video, and you find that, gosh, I can't use that. I really can't use that because it doesn't really make sense, But in some cases, though, it works out, and hey, at least you have it all saved on a hard drive, right?
I do.
So we always tell everyone, hey, get that hard drive, thumb drive, and then we'll be good to go. Well, Nzong, thank you for being here today. We're just about out of time for your interview, but we'll stay in touch, I'm sure, and we'll hopefully see more of you with more projects. So,
thank you.
Thank you. All righty. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by William Elliot, the producer of Blindside Fresno and Remember, Remember. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Members Only. Joining us now is William Elliot, the producer of Blindside Fresno and Remember, Remember. Let's take a look.
Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder or treason should ever be forgot.
Welcome back, William. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate the time you've taken out of your day to join us.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. Yeah, always great to have you in these parts. So let's. I'm sure the audience, after seeing that clip, are interested in what your show is and what it's about. So first, let's talk about Blindside Fresno, and then we'll talk about Remember. So why don't you let us know what the show is?
Blindside Fresno is mainly a interview type show where we have guests who are themselves blind. My wife is the host, Darcy. She is sighted, but we're both members of the local chapter of California Council of the Blind here in Fresno, and she stepped in to help with the interviews because it's difficult for myself, being blind, to actually do interviews. So we do need a sighted person there actually on camera.
Gotcha. So what was your first, I guess, encounter, or when did you first hear about CMAC, and then how did you think right away you wanted to make your own television show, or you just became a member and just decided as you learned more about what we do here?
Well, I moved to Fresno from Coalinga in June of 2015, okay. And I joined a local job club, and one of the members there mentioned CMAC, and I called around October of 2015 and found out, and then talked to a few people about the idea of having a program for the blind to actually inform people out in the general public about blindness issues and things. So the idea of CMAC fitted with ideas that I had for myself anyway. So
that's great. I was just going to say too, yeah, CMAC's ultimate goal and mission is to have programming like that, to educate the public, to show the public that there's there's organizations out there like yours that you're a part of, and all the the various issues that other people go through with things like that. So it's really great to have your program. It's been a delight to schedule it and show it locally as well. Many people have come through the lobby and they see the program and they ask about it, and they're very impressed and they are interested to find out more. So we do appreciate that. So you mentioned your membership was about October 2015, but gosh, how long has it been on air now, your program? I feel like
the first program was recorded in March. Then went on air in June. And since then we've done a monthly program.
That's right. You've been pretty consistent, which we also appreciate that as well. So what was the pre-production and planning process like for you?
The pre-production, basically I work on about 3 programs at any one time. So I have an idea for a program which will be in about 3 or 4 months. Okay. I then talk to the people who I would like to have as guests about ideas. Then as we get closer, I plan for booking the crew, arranging for studio time, and then making sure that my guests are able to meet those schedules. And then in about the last month before the program gets recorded, we go over the questions that we're going to talk to the guests about, and make sure that they're happy that there's nothing that's too intrusive, because going blind is a very personal matter. So if someone doesn't want to talk about a particular subject, then we'll fill with some other subject that are happy. And then in post-production, my wife, who became a member of CMAC over the last summer, edits the program. We came up with a plan of having set packages. So we have a package for the titles, then we record the program, and we also have a package with all of the necessary parts of the credits at the end. So the thank you to CMAC and items like that, we
Right.
put in the package, and we just swap out the crew list.
That's
as it
something
goes.
we emphasize for a lot of our members too. Is if you're going to have a studio show like that, and it's just going to be the same, intro and the credits at the end. You build the graphics, you put the titles in, but you're pretty much done after that, right? So it's just a matter of plugging in the new content, the new show, similar to what actually we do with this show as well. And it's funny because when I ask questions to members of CMAC on this show, I feel like I can answer a lot of them because I experience so much with them. But so you kind of touched upon a little bit of the editing process, post-production. What other types of things have you discovered with editing that has been proven to be a challenge with that?
Well, for me personally, editing is almost impossible because I can't see to actually manipulate the program.
Right.
But I do have an idea of what it should be, screen should look like. So I have used other editors as well for my first program, and we made some good back into communication. It's basically just communicating,
Right.
probably more necessary in my position, not being actually able to see the finished product.
Right. I'm sure hearing the certain lines and what hearing the show afterwards, you get a sense of where a cut should happen, right? If someone answers the question, you want to make sure that the shot's there, and it's great that Darcy's been able to help you out, and I know we've all kind of learned together too, because I know discovering what your needs are for the show itself, and then asking the right questions. I think we got a pretty solid system down, so I was happy to be a part of that process too. So
we're very glad with everyone here at CMAC. They've really been helpful.
Oh, we appreciate that. We enjoy helping you too. So
and they actually taught a blind man to be able to create a television program.
Wow, that's
that's
something to be to definitely be proud of. We're happy to do that. So what advice, I suppose, with your experience and what you've heard how the production process is like, what advice would you give to other members if they are willing to or wanting to start their own studio show?
What I learned from my very first program was plan for the absolute worst, because I came in on the day that we were recording the first program. I thought I was going to have a crew of 9. Most of the crew, for one reason or another, couldn't turn up, so we had 2. And one of the people who didn't turn up was my host.
Oh, no.
So that was why my wife stepped in at the time. So basically, whatever happens, it's probably going to happen, but it doesn't really matter because you can always leave that on the editing room table.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you can cut things out or adjust things as you go. And that's something you may learn right away as you start your own show. And with talent and having that's probably if I could rank the challenges that I hear that are common for our members here, that's really it. It's getting the crew, But I have noticed though with your show in particular, those who do volunteer on your show and have been. It's kind of a trade-off. They work on your show. I've seen you work on others. So that's a great dynamic. We love to see that here because that's what we're all about. We're about volunteering and connecting with others. So we appreciate that you do that. Has there been any particular show that you have had a favorite, or you've at least enjoyed working on? Or what's your favorite crew position? Have you found anything like that?
The strange thing may be actually I'm most often on camera.
On camera.
But I do have a little vision that I'm able to use for that.
I see.
But my 2 most regular programs are Valley Veterans Forum with Steve Minelski, and also CMAC in Live, which is a totally different experience to the recorded.
Oh yeah.
Because you have the live program, and it's very exciting, and you get to hear all the good music.
Yeah, it's true. The performances are really, through the whole run of that show, I'm always impressed to hear the bands that come in, and it's really a matter of just kind of, anyone who's on camera, just matter of following the directions of the director and listening to their cues, and it's, you know, everyone has to go through that. So, but that's, yeah, and I noticed you've also done some floor directing as well.
Yes.
And that's been great. You know, giving the cues, and I've seen you perform. So you've done quite a bit. And obviously, this, you said you did some editing before, but any other video production sort of involvement, or is this pretty much the first time?
I've had a YouTube channel of my own,
okay.
and done some of the editing on that using the basic Microsoft program. And I've also done straight off recording live and not just posting things like that. So
Gotcha.
Mostly YouTube with point and shoot type cameras,
Right.
rather than the facilities here.
Well, I wish we had more time, but it looks like we're getting close to the end. I know I hope you're okay with this, but I wanted to mention you have a blog as well that you kind of tie in with your videos that you post on your own YouTube page from these episodes. So I'll make sure to, you know, members can, or anyone can go to our website and watch your programming, or they can find you on the web as well there. So I wanted to make sure to mention that. It's been great. I've been following you, so really enjoy having you here. So
Thank you.
yeah, and we'll have this episode up and running pretty soon, and we'll keep you posted on it. All right, so that wraps it up for today's Members Only. If you'd like to see more about the shows we've talked about today, you can look for them on CMAC's channels Xfinity 93, as well as Uverse 99. If you don't have Comcast, Xfinity, or AT&T Uverse, you can go to www.cmac.tv to watch the live stream under the Watch tab. Thanks again to our guests Nzong Xiong and William Elliot, and thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.